Alrighty, gonna get started inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Ridwanullah family, Jazakumullahu khair for tuning in to another episode of Hussein Mohamud Raw. This is going to be the new episode, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. Obviously the evolution and everything that you can think about as a YouTuber or someone who creates content or focuses on media, and try to use it in a way that is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always going to be a challenge, and is always going to be a lot of inner conflicts. As you can see right now, I'm getting out of my comfort zone. Even though the lighting is not there, hopefully the sound quality is okay. You guys can see the background of my home office. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. It's a complete mess. You can see you can see the sandwich and drinks, coffee maker. Just it's everywhere. Inshallah. Hopefully I'll be able to improve on that. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of share with you a couple of the ideas that I've had, particularly the Hussein Mohamud show and Raw, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. Kind of, learning and growing and trying to shift, and so many things are coming along my way, and I wanted just to kind of share with you the idea that I have, alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, moving forward. And then the idea that I want to be able to grow and develop into, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. So as someone who's, obviously a Muslim, a dream chaser, someone who's continuously and constantly working towards achieving his goals and dreams, and his and her goals and dreams that are out there that are trying to achieve, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala, it's a constant battle. The level of communication that you have to have is very, very important. And there's two particular things that we have to solidify: is the concept, whether the concept of your dreams, the concept of your business, your goals, your endeavors, has to be something that makes sense to you at the very least. And secondly, it has to not only make sense, but it also has to work for you, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. And then that's some of the things that I picked up from the personal and professional development world that I'm in right now, for me personally. And I've realized, for me personally, as I continue to struggle and strive towards achieving my goals and dreams, it's going to be a challenge always. And as I'm trying to figure out the right way and the right methodology and the strategic system that I could use, particularly for my business and the rest of my life, I've realized that getting the message across is really hard. So meaning you got to make sense to yourself first, and then keep driving that message home. And as I continue to develop and grow personally and professionally, I've realized that your message has to be on point. It doesn't have to be perfect, at least to begin with. Obviously this is still, as far as I consider, the early stages of my career. And the more I take responsibility and the more I take ownership, the more it'll grow, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala, by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And your help and support, the Ridwanullah family, is always very, very important to me. And just to kind of let you know what my message is, and obviously my vision, my purpose and my mission, just to kind of share a little bit of that with you. For me personally, I see a world that is completely maximizing the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in every single area of their lives, in this dunya and in the akhirah, by the grace, will, and for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And first and foremost, it is to eliminate eliminate, or at least minimize, the amount of pain, struggle, and suffering that we are going through every single day of our lives, and to maximize the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to maximize our pleasure is the other reason. And last but not least is to inspire and motivate individuals to create economic and social justice, peace and prosperity, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. And those are the main reasons. Now, the mission, obviously, is to have as many individuals as possible to completely maximize the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, intentionally as well as unintentionally, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala, primarily intentionally. So that's kind of my message. There's a lot of things within that realm, as the individual, the self, the family, the wealth, and the ummah. And those are the four main categories that I'm kind of solidifying right now. And that's kind of what it'll be, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. That's what essentially what I want to do. Now, how I plan on doing it, one day I might be focused on helping you build your online business, your media company, training your team, doing some courses and trainings, coaching, consulting, whatever it may be. I'm still exploring the concept in the realm of maximizing, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. So that's kind of what it is. It's a constant struggle. Some days I don't want to do any of this stuff. And some days I'm just so fired up. I want to get everything done and just crush the whole day and just do everything that I possibly can to maximize the short amount of time that we have in this life, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And you guys can see maximizing is a theme, it's something that I want to do. I heard an entrepreneur talk about that. We should squeeze the orange when it's full. So for me personally, I want to be able to squeeze, every single ounce of my potential. I want to be able to squeeze every single ounce of what I want to accomplish and what I want to achieve. And in doing so, hopefully you're doing the exact same thing and you're pursuing your goals and dreams within the boundaries, rules, and regulations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Obviously as you go through business, you want to earn a halal living. Within the same time, you got to figure out a way to live life. And I'm trying to do the same. It's a complex reality because not only do you have to live, build a business, you have to live your life. And not only do you have to live your life, you have to build your business to, It's a constant evolving matter. You have to work to live your life and it's just an ongoing process. So, as of right now, I'm really, really focused on building my personal brand. And inshallah, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows me to build my personal brand to the level that it needs to be, then I'll be able to continue on building professional brands, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And I have a lot in mind. I have a lot going on. For any of the entrepreneurs that are following, the investors know exactly what I'm talking about, or if you don't know exactly what I'm talking about, at least you have an idea that branding is everything, to be quite honest with you. And I struggle with using my personal brand because all praise and thanks are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't want to put myself at a pedestal or shed light on me like this is in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I hope that I am something, but genuinely I believe that I'm pretty much nothing other than what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees me as. So I hope that, I take, some level of sacrifice, some level of pain in dealing with the potential fortune and fame that could come along with this. Not that I want it, but, at the same time, I remember this is one of the things that now it's getting serious. Oh, subhanallah. Whew, okay. So I remember, as a young kid, as I was dreaming and going through school and university, and I wanted to do so many things, and I've always never done them, at least to the capacity that I've wanted them, because I was so concerned about my intention and sincerity. And I've always wanted to, have the purest of intentions and utmost sincerity for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all the time. And I've never, on a scale of out of 100%, I think I did maybe 10 to 20%, at best up to 60% of what I really wanted to do. Because I was so afraid of other people judging me, other people saying this behind my back, and other people doing this and that, and me not just having the right intentions and so forth. And as I was continuing on my journey, I read this book called The Purification of the Heart and Soul, and it's actually right here. Let me just grab it. Alhamdulillah, that's the good thing about having a home office. I could just quickly grab exactly what I'm talking about. You guys might not be able to see it. Yeah, you can. So the purification of the heart, the purification of the soul, and it is compiled from the works of Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawzi, min Abu Hamid al-Ghazali. Subhanallah, you guys can see that right there. So this book, like right within the first couple of pages, actually it might be best for me to just read here. And this is actually in chapter 1 when the authors are talking about sincerity. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, I don't have it ready, so I'm just going to tell you what I learned from it. I learned that if you are doing something to please others other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are 100% guilty, because that robs you of your purity of intention and sincerity of doing it for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On the flip side, so this is what I was holding on to for the most part, because I was so afraid of, ruining my intentions and sincerity by doing it for other people. But then I realized there's a different part through reading this book, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. This is actually an advice from Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawzi. He said that by having, just as from what I remember, is not word for word, just trying to paraphrase it. He said that by doing something to please other people only, basically, you are guilty. And within the same token, if you are not doing something for fear of other people, then you are guilty as well. Subhanallah, my skin is almost shivering right now at the reality of the truth of that. And then I realized, I'm not doing something for fear that my intentions are incorrect and sincerity, and I'm not doing something because I'm afraid of other people as well. So it's a double-edged sword. So you have to find the balance. You have to do what you intended to do for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, asking the help and the guidance and the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And after you complete the work, you seek the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's whether I'm doing a video or whatever it may be. So that's pretty much what it's going to be. I'm doing the best that I can to keep my sincerity pure. Obviously, there's difference of opinion, particularly on recording media, whether it's videos or pictures that I regularly use. Some of the scholars, don't find it to be, they're pretty much against it for one reason or the other. And for me personally, and what I know of the Quran and the Sunnah, what I realize of the scholars that are out there teaching individuals is that, you have to use media to be able to reach the masses, to help them maximize the pleasure of Allah, completely maximize the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there's various of opinions in that matter. And for me personally, I have very limited knowledge in that realm. But, within the same token, to the best of my ability, to the best of my understanding, I'm doing the best that I possibly can. And I'm not trying to vilify whoever is against it. I just hope that it's not the other way around, that they're vilifying the people who are doing it, because then it gives us the permission to hurt each other. But with that being said, that's the center of the topic, because as I continue to do media, as I continue to help myself, help others for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I really have to figure out all the different mediums, and video is part of it, pictures is a part of it, articles, audio, all of these different realms of media is a part of the essence of what will make something successful or not. Because one thing I realized through studying media is whoever's in control of the media is in control of the minds of the masses. So, and it's consciously, unconsciously, subconsciously. So we could be either afraid of it and then have our ummah consume so many different content that are out there that are, negative and with different agendas, or they could watch Islamic content, media, pictures, videos, and that are getting them closer to completely maximizing the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in every single area of their lives, in this dunya and in the akhirah, by the grace, will, and for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's why I'm always constantly thinking and working and doing and always, and there's a lot behind the scenes that you see on the screen. But as of right now, I've realized for me to do a personal brand, it feels so natural, so authentic, and so simple to me. So that's why it's not for me to, be known, or for me to do all these things. And that's a part of the realm, to be known. But I'm not doing it to be known. I'm doing it to change my life. I'm doing it to change your life for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's the essence of what I'm genuinely after, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. So if I have to choose between a personal brand and a professional brand, and I find that in the industry that I'm in, that personal brands are more powerful, more impacting, and more memorable, then, obviously, as hard as it may be to let go of the professional brand for right now, I'm going to choose the personal brand and figure out how to brand everything around my personal brand. That way, if I find success in my personal brand, I'll be able to build professional brands upon professional brands and different things, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. And that's all a part of, working on building a successful online business, so it could transcend into the offline business in the rest of my life, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. And the last few things that I want to touch on is I had something in mind that's kind of slipping my mind right now. So yeah, just real quick, and this is not it, but I'll probably hopefully remember. If I don't, I'll wrap it up within the next minute or two, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala, is that I'm going to do two things, and I'm going to focus on two things. The first one is the Hussein Mohamud show. This is, something that takes a little bit more planning, more preparing, and trying to figure out how to get a studio, at least at the house or somewhere else professional. And you guys, I'm working on getting that to you in terms of a podcast, in terms of a TV, as well as a podcast, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala, where you guys could watch it and or at least listen to it, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. And the reason why I'm not focused on branding it as a podcast or a TV show like I used to is because those things evolve and those things change. But the show in itself is a concept that never changes. It'll always go transcend different platforms. So I could do it as a TV, I could do it as audio, as a podcast, and whatever other new media that comes. So I want to brand it perfectly so it doesn't get caught in between transitions, even though things are going online and podcasting and, video and things like that. And then the other part is the Hussein Mohamud Raw. This is actually a part of the Raw for right now, where I just do things off the cuff. You'll see me in a vlog style and just auditory, video, whatever it may be, that I'm going to be doing something that's raw, that's off the top of the dome, freestyle for any of the hip hop heads. But I'm just doing what I possibly can to be able to get through, to completely maximizing the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So yeah, I think that was pretty much it. So I'm gonna try. I'm gonna do the best that I can to do a video every Monday and Thursday. But as of right now, I'm gonna stick to Monday, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. And then throughout the week, as things come up, as things go on, I'll be doing the Raw whenever I possibly can, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. So that's pretty much it. Jazakumullahu khair, Ridwanullah family, for tuning in to another episode of Hussein Mohamud Raw, your source to completely maximize the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in every single area of your life, in this dunya and in the akhirah, by the grace, will, and for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'm your host and maximizer, Hussein Ridwanullah maximizer, Hussein Mohamud, checking out by saying, never ever give up on completely maximizing the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in every single area of your life, in this dunya and in the akhirah, by the grace, will, and for the pleasure